Yo, what's good YouTube? It's Sportsy, and in this video we're going to be doing a review of the Zygen NP01 Esports gaming mouse. I've already done an initial impressions video on this mouse, so go watch that if you haven't already. Link in the description. This is just going to be a full review. I'm going to be reviewing the mouse, obviously, and explaining whether I think it is good or not. I'm not going to bore you guys with Vaxee's backstory, but yeah, were the people who made Zowie mice as well. But yeah, first thing we're gonna talk about is the build quality, and the build quality on this mouse is fantastic, terrific, splendid, whatever way you want to put it. This is a well-built mouse. Whether you're talking about I don't even know what this test would be called, like the punching the mouse test. It passes that. You won't be able to break it when raging. There's no post travel on the clicks. It's actually insane. Like, you can squeeze the mouse like you're trying to fucking kill it, and still no post travel. Very impressive. The clicks feel great, by the way. I'll spend a good portion of this video talking about the click feel. They feel much better, much snappier than Zowie mice, but I'll get into that later. There is a bit of side flex, though, and in my initial impressions video, I didn't realize it because I was squeezing down here, and there's very little side flex when you squeeze down there. But turns out if you squeeze up here, and I have yet to actuate this in game, and I really find it hard to believe that anybody will be able to. But I just can't underestimate the power of monkey grippers. Like, maybe there's somebody who genuinely just grips their mouse that hard and can make it actuate, but that's kind of a yikes. I feel like that's a design flaw. I feel like that can just get fixed in a batch, for sure. If they manage to basically do it with the Model O, I have no doubt that they'll be able to fix it. But yeah, when you squeeze up towards closer to the side buttons, there is a lot of side flex. I haven't had any button wobbling issues, which is fucking based. Basically, the click feeling and the click quality is perfect. It's insane that they were able to do this. The clicks are separated from the rest of the shell, and that might be one of the reasons why. And even if you click down here, basically where a DPI button would be on a normal mouse, it's still activating the click the same as if I click up here. Pretty fucking sick, pretty sick. Next thing I'm gonna talk about. Oh well, I haven't really finished with the clicks. They use Huano 10Ms, which that's not something to be afraid of. You're not gonna click it 10 billion times and it's gonna break down. They're very snappy. On the clicks, it features a textured coating as opposed to the rest of the mouse, which is sort of like a half glossy coating. I truly don't know how to describe it. It's it always feels like it's a little bit wet almost. I don't even, I don't know. It's not a very dry coating, but up on the main clicks, it's very dry. It's definitely a lot easier to grip up here, in my opinion. You can kind of see through that dirt stain where I keep my fingers on the clicks. And yeah, they're very light, very snappy, better than any of the clicks on old Zowie mice. I'll do a comparison in a second. Actually fucking nasty. So yeah, I definitely enjoy the switches on the Zygen NP01 much more than any of the Zowie mice. I'm happy that they invested a lot to click feel. Not many companies do that. The side buttons, they're actually pretty good. I don't use side buttons anymore as I'm no longer a Fortnite gamer. But if you are a Fortnite gamer, one thing to note is that mouse 5 is a bit far up. I'm just gonna show you how I grip the mouse, and look at where mouse 5 is. I mean, I don't know. On the S2, you see it's much different. My fingers basically on mouse 5, very easy to click. While on the NP01, it's still possible to click, but it's not as easy. That could just be me though, but definitely take a look at that and think for yourself. Next thing we're going to talk about is the scroll wheel, and it is actually more Zowie than ever, but not in it kind of feels a bit tighter and even more tactile, but it doesn't have like the fucking repugnant sound of the Zowie scroll wheel. You might think that sounds bad, but then listen to this. The scroll wheel on the S2 kind of sounds like fucking nails on a chalkboard, while this just sounds like, I don't even know, but it just sounds a bit more heavy duty, if that makes sense to anybody, and it feels nice. There's a good bit of resistance when you're scrolling, but God, it is fucking loud. So yeah, now I'm going to talk about the cable. Obviously, you know, from my initial impressions video, not a fan. This is not a soft, flexible cable. It is actually like quite the opposite. It's a pretty stiff and not flexible cable. I can't even do a proper flexibility test. I'm not a fan. They themselves admit that they wanted to make a durable cable. I just disagree with that, and maybe it will change soon, but I'm not really sure. In a bungee, it does feel all right, but I'm definitely gonna paracord it, and I can imagine it will feel a lot better, and maybe even just a bit lighter overall. Well, definitely. You can see though the stress relief is a bit, or is that a stress relief? Sure. It's a bit angled, and that's a good thing. And if you really want to, you can angle it a bit more up on your own, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. Pretty cool though. One thing I forgot to mention is the bottom of the mouse. There is a click latency. I think this is like a debounce time setting. I keep mine on 4 milliseconds. You can put it on 2, but the thing is, if you slam your mouse, like if you like pick up your mouse and slam it, it will actuate the left click occasionally, and there's really just not a noticeable difference between 2 and 4, while I do believe there's a noticeable difference between 4 and 8. So I've just been rocking 4. Also a polling rate button. I use 500 hertz because Crunker Gamer, and a DPI button. The feet also, they are pretty thin, and by pretty thin I mean 0.45 millimeters. They said they did this for LOD reasons, liftoff distance, but they offer 0.6 millimeter ones on their website, so it's clear it works with 0.6 millimeters. So I'm not really sure why they didn't just go with that, but the 0.6 millimeter ones are available, and aftermarket feet will also be available in the upcoming month. And I saw on Twitter that Skull Mini core pads fit like perfectly. So if anybody really knows they're going to be like these feet are going to be unusable for whatever reason, there are many other options. But in my experience, the glide's been fine. One more thing to mention before I get into the shape and weight. I just don't really like the way this mouse looks. I don't know if anybody else feels the same way. I'm a fan of the way the clicks look. Like, damn, this shit looks cool. But the rest of the mouse, it just looks very weird. It gives me like old Microsoft mouse vibes. And this coating, it's not like slippery, but it's kind of like, imagine the XM1's coating if it just wasn't rubbery and it was like a bit like more glossy. That's the only way to describe it. It's not like a full matte coating though. I wouldn't call this matte. Like, it's nothing like a Glorious Mouse's coating. But yeah, that little rant aside. Oh, one more thing. I forgot in my old video, or the initial impressions video, I said that it was a 3360. I was wrong, and you would have thought I committed a fucking war crime. I was persecuted for that shit. There's a 3389 sensor in this mouse, and it feels fantastic. No issues with it. But yeah, now I'm going to talk about the shape and weight. It is 75 grams, according to Vaxee, without any cable. I weigh it in on my scale about 78 grams with some cable, and it just feels a bit heavier still. I just can't really put my finger on what it exactly is. But you guys know when a shoe, like, let's say a shoe, like, runs small, it's kind of the way this mouse feels. It just feels like it's running a bit heavier than it's advertised as. And that's not, like, a problem. It took me, like, 2 days to get used to. I had, like, slight fucking cramps the first day. Like, I'm a fucking grandmother. But after I got used to that, this mouse has felt great in hand. Extremely sturdy. And even though it has that side flex, I'm not letting it stop me from enjoying this mouse, and nobody should. It's really just side flex that requires a ton of force to activate. I'm afraid people are gonna like fucking blow it out of proportion, like the dude who physically manipulated the switches on Reddit. And here I have it compared to the S2 because that's a mouse that a lot of people have loved to compare it to. People say it's a mix of the S2 and the EC2, and I get the EC2 way more in the S2. When I just put both of these mice in hand, the S2 just feels so much smaller, and my hand just feels a lot more filled out by the Zygen NP01, and I believe that's due to the bottom of the mouse flaring out on both sides and just being very wide there. It basically forces you to put some palm on the mouse, and I've been doing this relaxed fingertip, which I found has a lot of support because the right side of my hand is literally just forced onto the mouse. I don't do it with the left side. If I did it with the left side, that would just be weird. But for claw grip, if you have like medium to large hands, this is definitely another shape to consider. It's very safe, ton of room on the right side. And also another thing to mention, like look at the line. You cannot even feel it and barely even notice it, even on my camera. But yeah, despite everything, this mouse just manages not to feel clunky. I'm really surprised. I was expecting it to feel clunky, but it just doesn't. Once I got used to the weight and the shape, it felt great in hand, and it didn't really take a long time because the shape is so easy. Right once you get the mouse, you're going to put your hands on it and you're going to realize how you want to grip it because there's room for basically any grip aside from like a fucking true fingertip, like I said before. But overall, for fingertip gripping alpha males, this is probably not going to be the best mouse, just way better options available. For claw grippers, if you are interested in this mouse, I would go for it, but my go-to recommendation is still going to be the XM1. But people who are into Zowie style mice and want something a bit more refined, this is your go-to option. The click feel is really high quality, and I'm impressed that they put so much effort into it. One more click sound test. So yeah, that's something that I've really liked about this mouse. The 24-step scroll wheel instead of 16, definitely interesting in terms of feel. I went over a scroll wheel earlier. Don't know if I remember to mention that though. The side buttons, aside that like little complaint I have with the positioning, they do feel very nice. They're a bit heavy, and that's kind of something you want to have. Like you don't want it to be like way too light, and they are very crispy. Very nice side buttons in my opinion. The cable, once again, it's not good. People on Reddit were getting pissed that I said that. Like I don't expect a cable to be a fucking paracord. I would be pleasantly surprised if it was, but I would expect it to be better in this. Maybe in the future they will make a flexible cable, and then I will be so fucking happy. So yeah, in conclusion, for a first mouse, this is ridiculously good. People who are into the bigger feeling mice, you're gonna love it. The build quality seems fantastic, aside from the side flex, but I'm not too concerned about that. Once again, just the click feel, it's truly second to none in terms of like sheer like fucking like durability based on the feel. Like still no post travel. I mean, I just don't know how to show it any better. But yeah, it's $60, very competitive pricing. Then again, the XM1 is $60, and I just still feel like that's a bit better value. You're getting a better cable, some nicer feet. But this mouse, built to last, solid purchase. I'm going to give it a light 8 to an 8.5. Can't really decide. Let me know what you guys think, and let me know if you guys have one, what you think of it. Thank you for watching. Make sure to like and sub, and peace out.